mentioned doing abs every day isn't necessary. Your muscles need to break down and heal. So by doing it every day, it's actually suboptimal. You're better to do it every other day or maybe even 2 to 3 times a week.
Real quick, before we jump into this episode, I wanted to let you know we have an amazing announcement for our fall challenge. It's going to be starting in a few short weeks, and we still do have our early bird discount. And all you have to do is message us with the keyword fall challenge to Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. We have guaranteed shirts and prizes for completing it. Some amazing prizes up to thousands of dollars worth just for winning as well. And you're going to be able to transform yourself in the process, and we're going to be doing it alongside you. So once again, do not hesitate, do not wait. Message us fall challenge to Instagram. We can't wait to change your life and help you during this challenge.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and Most of All Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the hizzy.
And welcome to another episode of Motivation Monday. I hope you have an incredible week ahead of you. We're excited to give you some extra motivation towards your fitness, health, and happiness. Go through some of the common questions we get asked, share quotes, as well as just get into some things that are on our mind. And this is an incredible episode with some killer questions. So sit back, relax, prepare to learn, and get motivated at the same time. But we're going to kick this off with our primary question. What are some areas you find clients work harder than they need to when they could just be working smarter? For instance, I used to do an hour of cardio every day before I signed up with you guys, and you told me to axe it and instead focus on training smarter and just managing my calories better. And I love this question because I've seen ample examples of this. I distinctly remember there's one guy we used to hang out with, Kyle. I know he's still in touch with him, and he used to tell us he really wanted to optimize for building muscle, so he was having 400 to 500 grams of protein every single day, and he was slaving away to get it, just crushing chicken breast, having every source, every protein shake. And we're like, hey bro, you don't need to do that. Like, there's a point of diminishing returns where more isn't always better. And people tend to do this in all different areas where they'll overdo what they need to do. So in the protein example, as long as you're having about a gram per body weight, you are more than covering your bases based on the most recent science. And if you're in a crazy cut, you could bump that up a little bit. Or if you're worried about your protein sourcing, like if you are getting sources that aren't animal based, you might want to actually bump that up just a smidgen. But even if you went up to like 1.1 grams per body weight, you would be more than covered. And that would be a very high ceiling, in my opinion, to actually do what you need to do. Anything else is excessive and truly is just going to get peed out in your system and isn't going to be utilized. So it's not to say you can't do it, but there's no reason to struggle and slave away and really focus on doing something like that when there isn't necessarily a need to. And at the same time, that could be coming in place of carbs and fats will help regulate hormones and your hunger, and then your carbs will give you energy that will go to glycogen so you can perform better, get better pumps, do all these great things. So that's where sometimes you think doing more of something is better, just like this example right here of just doing an hour of cardio every day when it isn't necessary. And doing that could be taking energy away from your workouts. It could be just causing you too much fatigue. It can cause you to kind of sour towards fitness. If you're doing an hour of cardio, you're lifting for an hour, you're meal prepping, it can just kind of feel like it's sucking your whole day. If it's something you love, that's a different story. And I know some people just love protein, and some of my clients say, hey, I'll eat a little bit extra. And I'm like, that's fine. You don't need to, but if you want to, that's okay. But I think there's this idea that sometimes like just suffering to suffer is better. I mentioned doing abs every day isn't necessary. Your muscles need to break down and heal. So by doing it every day, it's actually suboptimal. You're better to do it every other day or maybe even 2 to 3 times a week. Really get after them hard, because when you're doing it every day too, they're going to be a little sore, they're going to be broken down, they're not going to recover. You're probably going to dilute the quality of what you're doing. Just the same, I know people that say they work out every single day, and I see the quality of their workouts. They're like operating at 50% intensity, but they have this badge that they're there every day and that they're doing something better, when they'd actually be better to be in there like 5 days a week, hit it harder, have some hunger to get to the gym on those rest days. Like, that's super important. And then the last example I have, I didn't realize how many examples I had, and these are all on the top of my head. There's one guy at the gym who always comes up to us and goes, you guys are done already? You just got here. And it's funny because me and Kyle actually lift definitely a little bit longer than I think most people. Obviously, this is our business, our job. So fitness, we're able to really prioritize time for it. it. So most often I'll lift about an hour 15 to an hour 30. And I find that is totally optimal for me. That's where I feel good. I have the capacity to do it. But this person will lift for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And then Kyle always tells him, well, that's because we're not talking the whole time. And it's true, because he's having conversations, 5-10 minute conversations, doing random exercises, doing unnecessary things. Like when you come in with intention, it really, really is more effective than just duration. People really get obsessed with duration in the gym. I don't really care about duration as long as I'm doing what I need to do with intention and focus. If I can kill it in 70 minutes and I've done what I need to do, I've hit my weights, I've had my rest, I've brought a great intensity, that's all it needs to be. There's no benefit for being in there longer. The only perk of being in there longer is it gives you more capacity to do the volume you should be doing. But if you're on a great routine, you can regulate out that amount of volume, because if you set your initial bar at 3 hours, you're probably also not going to be hitting it hard for 3 hours, because there's no way you can as a natural. After an hour and a half, I just really find I plummet. Some of the most elite naturals, like Lane Norden, he's a professional bodybuilder and powerlifter. He lifts for 2 hours, and even that's pretty beefy to me. But outside of that, it's going to be very hard to maintain that intensity and that focus. And I love the studying example because it really resonates with me. Or if you're doing work, doing deep work versus just kind of doing something, when you do deep work and you're intentional and you're giving it your all, you're going to get way more yield out of it than when you're half doing something. So with a lot of these themes, I think people like to build up, I'm in there forever, I do abs every day, I'm doing all this extra cardio, and they're suffering when they don't need to suffer. And that's why a lot of the time when I get new clients in, I look at what they're doing, I'm like, hey, I'm actually going to have you do less, but we're going to put a little bit more focus over here. We're going to take away some of this nonsense. We're going to spend some less money less on supplements and all this other crazy stuff. And they'll be like, wow, I'm saving money, I'm saving time, and I'm getting better results. I wish I hired you sooner. And it sounds like I'm bragging, and I guess I am, but it really is true. Misapplied effort is just the worst thing you can do too, because you also feel like I'm killing myself here. I'm giving it my all. I don't have much left. This is literally breaking me down, but I'm not seeing the results I want to see. Or people that are just starving themselves when they don't need to. Like, once again, it really is about working smarter. And even for me, I don't try to do any heroic efforts in the gym. I try to be as lazy as I can in an effective way to see incredible results. So I'll limit my lifting 5 times a week, hour 15 to an hour and a half. I don't do any extra cardio outside of sports, and I like going on walks. So just 10K steps, I'll do that. With my food, I utilize 80-20 rules, so I can have really fun food. I can have a lot of flexibility, and that's it. That truly is it. Like, I don't do anything super nuts or crazy like that, and that's how I've got a really elite level physique. But the things I do I do really well. I do without exception. I follow like the code of how I operate. I'm consistent to it, and ultimately that's where you will see more results. So I know I popped off a bit on that one, but I think this was a killer question, and I'm really curious what Kyle has to say as well.
Yeah, and see, this is what makes it a lifestyle change. This is what allows you to continue to show up day after day, month after month, and year after year. So a lot of people, they look at the journey and they see, oh man, they think they have to be in there for 3 hours. They think that they have to be so diligent with meal prep and do 6 hours of meal prep every Sunday. Like Josh said, I really like that he brought that up, because the goal is to make it as simple as possible. And that's where so many people struggle. But I'd say like there's 2 examples I really think of with this specific question. The first thing is like definitely the fluff work. So like I'll see a lot of people with their workout routine just do a lot of simple things like that make you feel very successful, right? Let's just talk a million different banded exercises. That could be one thing. Like, don't get me wrong, they have a purpose, but it's not going to get you killer results like doing a ton of things that just pump you up. Like, you could hit arms every single day, or abs like Josh was mentioning. And I see a lot of people with kind of bad splits where like they'll have a specific shoulder day and they'll just like destroy it. You kind of feel good about it and whatnot, but it's not exactly the right way to program. Like, your shoulders don't need an entire day. I've learned that myself. Or even arm days and stuff like that, or like just narrowing in. Whereas like sometimes we'll just go in and obviously we'll have a good workout, but like when you hit just the compounds and you like actually work like smart within those movements, it does so much more than some of these people who are doing like 12 different exercises. So it's really important to have a good routine and be intentional with that. And then the other thing is nutrition, right? So I find a lot of people, they feel like they're doing a lot more because they're always prepping, and like it's always on the top of their mind, right? And it's been said we make over 200 food related decisions a day. So a lot of people, they just constantly think about it, right? And for us, it's about making it as simple as possible and trying to eat a lot of similar foods. So like when you don't have to think about it day after day and just like, every second of the day, I find it makes it so much easier. And I actually talked about this on the Instagram story, just yesterday, where I was just saying, so many people will just spend so long thinking about it, talking about it, and like food is a big part of the day. So it makes you feel like, man, I'm like actively working on it, and I'm, just constantly thinking about it and talking about it. Whereas if you were to just try to have like simple meals that you like can rely on, it just makes it so much easier, because it's just like, it takes the guesswork out. You don't feel like you're just constantly like trying to figure it out, and it's just simple, right? So that's going to be the one thing that I would mention. And that was a great question.
Yeah, if you're suffering, you're doing it wrong. And that's what I really try to do with my coaching, right? Is like eliminate points of friction, because you want friction for things you shouldn't be doing. An example, if I just have chips in the house, right? I know I'm going to be tempted to have those chips. I know there'll be a moment of weakness where I'm hungry, I'm sad, I'm watching a show and I want to do something fun, right? And it's not that I'm a weak person. It's in that moment, there's no friction. It's so easy for me to do that. Like, it's ridiculous, right? It's like some people say the worst thing you can do is save your credit card on your computer when you're shopping, because there's no friction. You just quickly press a button and you can purchase it. Whereas if you wait, your wallet's upstairs, you say, I'm going to wait 24 hours before I buy this thing. 9 out of 10 times, you're probably not going to buy it. And that's been one really good hack that I've actually utilized. But same with fitness. If you're like, I love going to the gym, but I'm going 5 days, there's going to be 2 days I'm going to miss going to the gym. I'm going to be hungry to get in there. I'm going to use it as a time to recover and heal. You're going to be more intentional, hitting it harder, getting after it, or even if it's 4 days, whatever is realistic for your schedule. When you're actually doing movements that help you progress, you're going to be seeing progress. You're going to be getting new muscle. You're going to be losing fat. You're going to be building shape, and you're going to be hungry to continue doing that. Whereas if you're in there like 2-3 hours a day, like Kyle said, doing every band exercise, every machine while you're texting, you're going to see no change and say, I'm literally working so much harder than these other people that are seeing results. What's wrong? Or they must be cheating. They're doing steroids or whatever it is. When you're actually neglecting the fact that like you're not doing barbell work, you're not actually challenging yourself with any difficult movements. The only leg exercises you do are like light machines. And that's where like having someone on your side to push you and to help improve your systems, to help optimize your situation, say stop misapplying effort so you can actually apply effort where you can see change. And once again, we have this challenge coming up. It's going to be a crazy fun challenge. Like Kyle said, this is the first time we're doing guaranteed prizes. So if you can step up and you can lock in for 4 weeks through fall, I guarantee you'll be a new level version of yourself. You're going to lose fat, you're going to gain muscle, you're going to build better habits, and you're going to get a shirt that says that. It's going to be a special limited edition shirt with our logo in the front. In the back, it's going to say no challenge too great. And once again, that's not going to be given out if you're 80% there, 90% there. Like, you got to lock in. It's going to be a little scary. But if you've been putting it off and you've been saying for like the last however long since your wedding, you're like, I'm going to lose this 20 pounds. I'm going to get rid of this pouch on my stomach. I'm finally going to fit in this clothes. And you don't, and you keep putting it off and you keep making lies to yourself. Like, I can do it myself, or it's too expensive to get help. Even though you know you can get help, stop shooting yourself in the foot. Like I always say, if you like what me and Kyle have to say through general advice, I'd love to dig in, learn your situation, learn your strengths, your weaknesses, your barriers, help you blast through them to build better systems so you can see better results for the rest of your life. And it starts by making an investment in yourself. And we have pre-access pricing, so I want you to save as much money as you can. Also, by signing up, you're going to get a guaranteed extra bonus shirt with a fire quote on the back of it, because you know we love our quotes. We're going to be hopping right there after this segment. So if you want that pre-access pricing, message us on Instagram, Fall Challenge, or you can shoot us an email to our email, contact@ColossusFitness.com with the keyword Fall Challenge, and we will take care of you. No, this is fully guaranteed. It's your results, your money back. So you come in, you give it your all. I'll promise you'll be a fitter, sexier, more confident version of yourself. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes, as I promised. And I'm going to start because this quote's been on my mind quite a lot. It's actually been on my mind since I actually did a check-in for my client, Emily. So the quote is, if you do what everyone else does, you'll get what everyone else gets. To be exceptional, you have to do what others won't. And I think this adage, it's really sexy when you're watching motivational videos or you're fired up or you're like, heck yeah, I'm going to be a beast. I'm going to be different. But it's really hard in application. So even my client said she was like at a bachelorette and she's just having Greek yogurt in the morning, and they're all kind of teasing like, oh, wow, you're really committed or whatnot, right? And of course, friends will do that. Everyone will do that. I've been in those situations like, why don't you want to to eat dessert. Why can't you have dessert? Like, it's not healthy to not eat dessert. And I'll be like, I don't really even want this dessert, to be honest. Like, I don't care for it. If I did, I'd have it. But sometimes people will push, or you're not drinking, you think you're better than us, you used to always do that, or whatever it is, or you don't want to stay up super late, you're already going to bed, it's only like 1 or something. You'd be like, it can be tough. But in those moments, that's where you have to be stronger. If you do what everyone else does, you're going to look like everyone else. If you look around and see how everyone else is eating and you want to look like them, you'll do what they're doing, right? Whereas if you want to be the exception, you got to do exceptional acts, right? You got to do the tough thing. You got to say no to McDonald's on the way home. You need to get to bed so you can have a productive start in the morning. You need to go to the gym when you don't feel like it. And a lot of the time, success is what you do in private, right? Like, you need to actually win these moments where no one's cheering for you. No one's so excited, being like, oh, you ordered the right thing. That's killer. Great set. It's like just winning these little decisions when it's late at night, not door dashing, uninstalling DoorDash from your phone, adding more friction to your bad decisions and removing friction towards your good decisions. So the more you do this, the more you'll actually notice that results will come. And this component of it isn't as exciting, like I said, but these are really the moments that make the difference. And I love this quote as well. I don't know who has this quote, but you can't be exceptional by following the crowd. And that's just a reality. And I think more and more people are softening up a bit with their decisions. There's a lot of self-forgiveness, which I think is really healthy, but it's like, you had a really hard day. You deserve that glass of wine. You deserve to DoorDash a pizza. It'll make you feel better. But like, especially when you're doing things that are self-destructive, you need to ask yourself, like, is this breaking me down or building me up, right? And it's not to say you can't celebrate and have a fun thing here and there, but also you got to be careful the habits you create, because you just start doing this and you start getting heavier and then you feel worse and your energy wanes and you stop working out, then you get less healthy, and it just becomes a very vicious cycle. So it is important. You have to understand some sacrifice will be there, and you're going to need to reframe your habits, and you also need to be comfortable being a little bit different and being the exception, being the leader, and taking a tease and standing for what you believe with your fitness, health, and your happiness, because like I said, it's so asymmetrical to how most people are living now. And obviously you're listening to a fitness and health podcast, so I'd imagine you'd resonate with this, but this is super been on my mind. And one thing I really like too about doing the exceptional thing and working in silence, a good question to ask yourself is, if someone followed you around for the next 7 days, would they agree that you're actually living a life that's in line with the goals you have set for yourself? So would they say, okay, this person's actively working towards their goal? Like, if your goal is to lose fat, build muscle, grow your business, improve your mindset, whatever, would they be like, okay, this person's living that life? Or would they follow you around and go, ooh, this person's crushing a bag of chips or ordering food, they're staying up late, they're skipping the gym, they're not doing these things? So it's in those little moments where you got to win. You got to win all the small decisions. That's why I always talk about it. We have another question that's relevant to this today that I'm excited to jump into later, but those are my thoughts and my quote, kind of a 2-for-1, but now we'll jump into Kyle's quote and his thought.
I've just got to say, man, that was great. And like, I want to give you permission to say no to things, to choose the healthier option. Like, you're listening to this podcast, like Josh said, and ourselves and our community, it's kind of easy because we're all doing it. Like, we have a number of members, especially with this challenge, who are like going to be able to be on the same team, the same side, like having to make those harder decisions, having to make those better decisions. But when you go out in public and you go into a coffee shop, nobody's going to be cheering for you there. They'll be happy if you're kind of fitting in with the croissants, the donuts, the 500 calorie drinks. Like, when you go away to a cottage, like, you may have great friends, but I'm telling you, most people will be happy if you were to get drunk with them, or just like not have a actual good meal and just have something completely garbage, right? And it's unfortunate that it's that way. Even myself, hanging out with a lot of fit and healthy people, I still to this day will find, when I go out there, there's just most people making bad decisions and just like putting their health at risk and just not like doing the right thing. So by listening to this podcast consistently, by showing up, and of course joining us for this challenge, like, you're going to be on the same team with people who want to see you win and who are going to accept you for making the right decisions day to day. So yeah, I thought that was great. It's so motivating. Like, when you see, like, unfortunately, just the obesity rates and the overweight numbers and whatnot, like the average decisions that are being made, they're not great out there. So being that better person for yourself is going to benefit you every day and for the rest of your life. So just wanted to share that on top. But Something that has been really sticking with me is this quote here: every result starts with a seed. If you don't plant it, don't expect it to grow. So I was listening to a finance podcast the other day, and the gentleman was saying like one of the biggest contributors to like retirement and savings wasn't the exact like account you used and the exact thing you got. It was just like planting that seed, just getting started, especially if you're focused on the long run, like 30, 40 years, whatever time frame it is. And he said you have to plant something if you want something to grow. So I thought it was so simple, but I know it's so easy to overcomplicate it when you think of obviously finances, but relating it back to the fitness journey. Yes, I do always talk about the right workout splits and the right type of cardio and the right type of nutrition, but looking down the road, like in the future, the fact is if you start and you just start planting that seed, it will eventually grow into something great, and you'll learn along the way. You'll fail a bit, you'll just have different ups and downs, but you'll never get there if you just never sign up for the gym membership or never join us for one of these challenges or just start eating healthy. Like you can't overthink it. And if you don't plant that seed, you're just never going to have that growth and that, amazing blossom that these things turn into afterwards. So that's my quote. And that's something that I've been very, very passionate about.
Yeah, and I'll happily jump in there because I think that's a killer quote. You can't expect something to grow if you don't plant it. And it is crazy, but I think oftentimes the most friction is first doing something. I distinctly remember 6 or 7 years ago, I was reading about finance books, and they're talking about the power of using a robo-investor versus an investor and how many fees you save and how that can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm like, let's go. And I loved it. And then I started looking at robo-advisors. I'm like, ooh, this is out of my institution. Like I normally go to my bank. It's easy to do. I need to trust this new website. Is it a scam? How do you transfer money? And like in your head, you start talking yourself out of it. You're like, this is difficult, right? But I'm glad I figured it out. I started doing that. I started saving, putting away money. And like now it's been amazing seeing that grow and compound. And just like any other decision, like I remember just sometimes one thought can change everything. When Kyle first bought his car, I was still taking the bus, and I said, oh, I saw this really cool thing that said whenever you get out of your car, take all your trash with you and your car will stay clean. And it's hilarious because I've done that now for how long it's been, right? Like about 15 years, whatever it is. And because that, my car is like, it's not always clean, it's always tidy. Like there's never garbage in there. I've just kept that habit up. I always take it out. Maybe there's one thing I miss here and there, but there isn't piles of garbage where I'm not like, this is crazy, right? So just those small things, it's amazing how much it can stack up. And a lot of the time there's that friction of starting. We put off this podcast for maybe a year, maybe 2 years. I don't even know, because we're like, how the heck do you record a podcast? Where do you do this? What do you do? What's the right audio equipment? What if our audio sucks? Like, and we got so in our head with all this stuff. How do you upload it? How do you host it? Like, but these are things you just need to buckle down and figure out. And I think there's no better feeling than taking a big problem that you need to crush to like get to somewhere you want to get to, and just sitting down, buckling down and banging it out. And that's where me and Kyle have had a lot of success. Is we used to, I remember at my school, outside of my school gym, there's a little cafe seating space. And I remember like figuring out taxes, figuring out all this crazy stuff. We'd sit there sometimes like for 8 hours almost and just grind through things and learn it. And now it seems common because I've done now like 700 episodes of a podcast, but it was really scary, the thought of starting, the thought of talking, trying to understand how to edit it. But you figure these things out. And like Kyle said, if you start planting seeds and you begin a good path, that's going to end a good thing. And just the same, if you begin a bad path, like you got to ask yourself like the habits you're creating. And I was even thinking, I'm like, I don't think many people would say they want to become like a chain smoker and like their goal is to smoke 2 packs a day. But oftentimes it probably just starts with them being like, I'm stressed. They try someone's cigarette. They do that a few times. And like just the same as good habits can stack, bad can too. So sometimes you really got to make a point to nip them in the bud and like take the weeds out of your garden while we're on this whole garden analogy, right? And really just begin planning those habits that will be so amazing. And it doesn't need to be massive amounts of action. It just needs to be consistent action.
Yeah. And even just the last thing on top of that, like my thought for this week is just been about mindset. Cause man, I know I always talk about it, but it can destroy you or it can build you up. So like even for a while, I was telling myself as we're getting ready for this mock powerlifting meet. So you'll hear the results next week. So stay tuned for that. That'll be really exciting. But for a few weeks, I kind of started to tell myself like just not great things. Like, I've lost 20 or so pounds. So my bench press is like, weaker. And then I would be like, I haven't squatted this this much in this long. So like every time I would lift, I would subconsciously think about that. And then I switched things around last week and I started to tell myself, you know what, you are strong. Like you've done this before. Like you can do these numbers. Like I started setting goals within it, and I just like, I feel incredible. Like even the last week last Monday when we went in to do like our openers, I'm like, man, I'm feeling great. I started to increase some of the weights that I was going to do. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like it was just all in the mindset of me telling myself like, none of these excuses, none of these like, oh, I've lost weight and you know, I had an injury, so I haven't been doing this. Like if you keep telling yourself something, it'll happen. Like you will believe it. So it's so important to tell yourself powerful, uplifting things and follow through with it, because most people, their mindset is what holds them back. Whether you're trying to hit a PR, you're trying to reach a weight loss goal, whatever it is, you really, really have to focus on it. I've seen it hundreds of times over in myself and our clients' journey. So just something I wanted to mention as well.
Yeah. And the great news too is if you don't have a strong mindset or you're not a confident person, like have someone there behind you to make that happen, right? Like get a coach. Like it's so easy to put it off and say, I'll do it by myself, I'll figure it out. But like Kyle said, when you have someone there building you up, telling you can win, saying this was actually amazing, we can do more, you can push yourself here. Like it's just amazing seeing people come out of their shells, especially if they aren't overly confident, they're not overly sure, you've been kind of wishy-washy with what you want to achieve. Like just taking that step, like let me and Kyle do the hard work. Let us give you the exact instructions you need to do. Let us hold you accountable to it. Let us explain it and make it as easy and simple as possible. And like, I don't know why, but I'm really feeling convicted to encourage someone today to make that jump, to sign up to coaching once and for all. And like, I want you in 3 months to be so proud you did and to be like this next level beast version of yourself, for finally just removing the excuse of saying one day. It's even funny. Our friend wants to buy like a fancy car, and Kyle showed me a meme today and it said next year. And then it was just the guy in the graveyard. And it's a little dark, but it's true. If you always say next year, I'll get fit next year, I'll do this next month, one day I'll do it, I'm going to figure it out. Like if you haven't by now, you have to ask yourself why. And there needs to be that pivot point, that movie star moment, like we always like to say, where things really just radically change and you set on a new path. And what I love about our transformations on our Instagram is you look at the befores and you see the afters. Almost every time after photo, they're standing taller, they're smiling more, their posture's better, their skin, like it's just amazing what radiates out of you. Like you have one physique, when you take care of it and you actually feel better and you know you're on a path to success versus a path where you're going downhill, it's so empowering in every area of your life. So Fall Fitness Challenge, like I said, join us. It's going to be killer. It's going to be a ton of fun, and I'd love to have you take part and jump in for that pre-access pricing. But now we're actually going to jump into a client who's been killing it. So who's our client shout out this week?
So I think Josh is so convicted because we see tons of wins. Like every day, our album is just being blown up with wins, with transformations, with new low weigh-ins, with strength related goals. With Kris M, as you can see on the screen here, she has changed her body composition like no other. Like it's insane. And even what it really stands out about her transformation specifically is like her message before she signed up. She said she was clueless with her workouts. She wouldn't know how to structure a workout or make it sustainable, or when to change it, or how to get progressive overload. She also said she was doing the same routine for about a year and she wasn't sure when to change it up, and she struggles with nutrition. So what we ended up doing is we ended up losing fat in the first phase, just full on doing a shred, and then doing a body recomposition, like a little muscle gain phase, reverse diet, replenishing everything, her calories, resetting her metabolism, doing all that fancy stuff that we specialize in. And to be honest, it wasn't a crazy amount. Like when you're looking at the photos, it's about a 10-pound difference. Like she did end up losing 25 or so pounds all in all, but she was able to actually like fully transform her physique, where it ends up looking like she's lost like 40 pounds. Like it's actually crazy. And with the right guidance and the right support, you absolutely can do it. Because similar to Kris, like she was kind of wandering around, just doing a bunch of random stuff, like really struggling. And she finally said, you know what? Enough is enough. I want to take the guesswork out of the process. I want to lose fat, put on muscle. And she said she wanted to focus on glute development. So she's stronger, she's healthier. We're so proud of her. Like Josh said, Fall Fitness Challenge, do not miss out, because you will get some killer results like Kris and everyone else in our community.
Yeah. And even even with this challenge, like we don't believe in just doing a challenge and calling it there. We will coach you before, during, and after to equip you for just full success through this. And that's what we're all about, sustainability. So don't miss out. But now we're going to jump into our second question. And this is a really fun one. I'm going to let Kyle take it away first because we'll have a lot of the same things naturally. But what are some small daily wins I can start stacking to become a fitter, healthier, and happier version of myself?
Yeah, this is a great question. Honestly, there's a lot, but I always think like at the very beginning, like of the day, what's a win, right? The first thing is that you got out of bed. You got out of bed when your alarm clock went off. A lot of people don't realize it, but that's a win, right? You know, stepping on the scale, that's another amazing win. That's, you know, you're going to see what's going on with your weight and you're going to be able to make changes based off of that. And then jumping into it, like a bunch of other things that I'll start to focus on afterwards would be my morning walk. So like I'm just starting from like the very beginning of when I wake up, like moving on throughout the morning. The consistent walk is something that I find such a huge win because I don't always want to do it. Like there's sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I have to go get the stroller and like, you know, I jump onto my laptop. I really want to get some work done as well. So like that's another amazing win. But I would say on top of that, like the consistent breakfast is another amazing one. And then also just getting into the gym and making sure the workout's done. But all in all, like I would consider it a successful day. Like when I look at my day, like I'm saying 7 days a week, if I've hit my macros, like if I were to clock out and check out my FitnessPal, I've hit my numbers every day. I've hit my protein every day. I've hit over 10,000 steps, and I've just like focused on my mental health and done some sort of meditation, journaling, deep breathing, something Josh recently brought up, and I've been trying to do it as consistent as possible as well as just like a no input walk. I find that that's been great just to like allow yourself to like get some cardio and just fully be present and whatnot. But for me, those are the things, right? It's just like making the better decision and just like choosing the right options is like, to me, an amazing win, but I'm sure Josh has a lot of things as well.
Yeah, definitely a lot of overlap. So I'm going to try to plug some of the gaps with some additional things I do. And I absolutely concur, like waking up at the same time, being consistent to that, like showing yourself first decision, you're going to stay true to what you say is so huge. Getting outside, getting a walk in the sun is just absolutely paramount and just cause you to feel your best, allows you to be more awake during the day and helps regulate so you can actually have a better sleep later on. Past that, one thing I love to do is a big glass of water every single morning. It's a small thing, but it's a non-negotiable for me. All night, you're getting no water, you're dehydrating yourself, your brain's working. So one of the best things you can do is replenish your body with what it needs, which is water. We're basically made of water. So getting that back in is just phenomenal for your focus, for your energy. It can help save you from being more hungry. It can help your skin. So that's something I make a point to do. I make a point to journal every single day. And a really cool hack I've just discovered that I've just started doing. I personally love journaling on pen and paper. There's just something that feels right about it. I write down my goals. So I still do that every day. But additionally, when there's a lot on my mind, one thing I've been doing, a really cool hack I've learned, is I've actually just been rambling to ChatGPT. So you can tell it everything that's on your mind, right? You could say, I'm thinking about this, I'm stressed out about this, I want to do that. You can just blabber, right? And this is someone who's not going to get mad at you for blabbering. So you could talk for a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's going to write it all out in text and it's going to give you a response. And it's just kind of cool to have some feedback to that. And I find it's a very nice outlet. And it doesn't take as long as it does to type out a whole long thing. So I've been utilizing this a bit more and trying to say, like, where can I streamline my focus today? Or what do you think I'm overthinking? Like, you can play around with some of these questions, right? And these are modern tools we have. May as well use it how you can. So that's one thing I personally quite have enjoyed lately. So I found that's been a big one. You'll notice a lot of this starts in the morning because I really find like it's a fresh start in the morning. I have like more focus. Even today, like I make it a point to eat a frog every single morning, and that means to do a hard thing like work-wise I need to do, like whatever my priority is for that day. So today was just finishing editing a video perfectly, getting it uploaded. Like this isn't a big deal. It takes 15 to 30 minutes, but I did it, and I purposely don't check my texts or emails for as long as I can. For this reason, I usually try to wait at least an hour before I look at them because there's always always something. And of course in my email, there was some nonsense with this whole stupid situation. I'm like, oh, like I don't want to have to deal with this, but I got done what I needed to get done and in front. And I think it made the problem seem less major in my mind, whereas perhaps sometimes I'd overthink it. And then what I need to be done was done and out of the way. And that's not further burdening me as I go on. Another thing I make sure to do now is pre-log all my food for the day as best I can. Today I put in the lunch that I thought I'd have. I didn't have it. It's no big deal. Deleted it, put the new one in. Super easy. But I've been making it a rule that I'll pre-log anything before I eat it, just so I can be really consistent with my log and not miss anything there. Because when you pre-log it too, you can say, oh shoot, I didn't realize I can't have the fries. Like I don't have the calories for that. Or I need to double down on the protein because I'm going to be a little bit low. But when you eat it and put it in, there's no taking it back. So that little hack's been incredible for me. And that's definitely been an awesome like little daily win. And like I said, most do start with the morning. Some other things I've been doing is like deep work. So like it's not editing plus watching YouTube video. It's just editing. It's just plain, boring, simple, not trying to do too many things at once. I don't eat in front of the screens anymore. I'll just eat and just silence and just enjoy my food, eat a little slower, take my time with that. And like these things seem so small, but they can stack up so much. Being okay with parking a little bit further away. It often isn't anything too crazy. I make a point to read before I go to bed. So that's about all I have. Any additional ones for you?
I just think what really stood out there is just the fact that they're small wins, right? Like a lot of people think that when it comes to the journey, it needs to be these massive shifts every day where you're just doing so much. But like the truth is that the small wins are like, there's the people who are unhealthy where like their decisions are like, let's just say I have the same Greek yogurt every day. Their decision is a croissant or just some, I'm not hating on that. It's just, it's not a protein thing. And it's like higher in carbs and sugar and all this other stuff. Like it's those small things throughout the day. If you were to just check out like what Josh said, if someone were to follow you around for the next week, what decisions are you making each day? And if you were to have a checkbox at the end of the day, hit my protein, went on my walk, did my meditation, did a journaling session, like all these things, and you have a list of them, even though they don't take tons of time, like that's what's going to set you apart. And that's what's going to help you be successful on your journey. So yeah, just wanted to mention that.
All right. And then for our third and final question of today's episode, I'm pretty new to the gym. I'm curious if there's anything you regret or would change looking back to the start of your journey.
So I'm very happy with the very beginning of the journey. I used to just kind of like copy what Josh would do. Like I was in high school and I would do stuff like for my like own fitness journey. But then once I started like getting serious and lifting with Josh, it was pretty cool. I would just be like, hey, what are you doing? And I would just like bum the workouts off him. And it did work pretty well. So I'm like very grateful that I spent a lot of time like focused on building muscle and I wasn't too focused on having like a shredded six pack. So I was able to like bulk up and do a lot of things right. So I can't like sit here and say that I did 20 things wrong like some people maybe did as well, but there are a few things that I would change. Now, the first thing was that once I did get a little bit more experienced, like I really wish I did hire someone who's been in the industry for like a long time. I just really feel like most people, I'd say everybody, can benefit from just like having someone who knows exactly what they're doing, who is like not emotionally attached to the results. Like they can speed up the process. Not that you're trying for quick fixes or anything like that, but like if you can do something in like 5 to 10 times shorter time frame and do it right, like why would you not do that? Everyone should be doing it. So I would say that's one thing that I would change. The other thing would be just honestly not taking the right time to learn all the movements. I feel like I had a pretty good grasp for it, and maybe it's because there wasn't as many of them, like as many resources back in the day. I feel like there weren't as many form videos. Like our buddy Scott Herman Fitness did have some of them out there when we first started, but I really wish I took the time to learn them a little bit better and just, make sure I was getting a full range of motion. I wasn't ego lifting, but it's kind of hard to say like back when I was like 17, 18, like to tell myself like, hey, stop deadlifting with your back arch like this and like just settle down a little bit, right? So I would say nothing major, but the big thing is just like not 100% perfect form, which, can't blame myself for, but definitely not having a coach is the biggest thing for sure.
Yeah, I've answered this before, and my answer is always not having a coach, just because I think I waste a lot of effort and like a lot of time. And if I just learned correct, I would have put that same effort and time into it. Obviously, I learned what not to do by doing a million different things and figuring it out. It's just I wasted a few years of progress, especially like when I find that time when you first start, you're so hungry, like you just absorb everything like a sponge, and you really don't want to like misapply it. And that's where a lot of people do, and like they'll just do silly things and hurt themselves or go down weird rabbit holes, and like it's hard to pull yourself out of that when you get there. So yeah, like having someone on your side, like Kyle said too, like I always like to say it's one thing being on your own journey, it's a whole nother thing when you have a coach, like you're out of this world, and then when you have a community, like you're out of this universe, right? Because you have other people that normalize what you're doing, people that are in the same situation, people that want to advance, that will share their tips and tricks with you. It's so amazing, and that's where the challenge is really fun. So once again, don't miss out. We spoke about it a lot because we believe in it, and like Kyle said, it's kind of frustrating when you know you can help someone, and you know you have all the tools, you have everything here, and you like got your arms open, you're like, come for a hug, let me do this for you, and then like, nah, and you're like, so sometimes that's what's hard for us, and that's why I do what I do, and I started what we've started here with the coaching, because if you're struggling, you really don't need to. It really isn't hard. It's going to require you to do something uncomfortable and get over your ego and your self-obsession with wanting to do it yourself, and having someone there to push you and guide you and show you the tools. And from there, you can absolutely continue it on yourself. But you got to take that step, right? To change something, you got to change something. So this is your chance to do that. Message us Fall Challenge to our Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. Use some of those additional daily hacks. Implement what you heard today, because knowledge is only power when applied. But thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you love this episode, let us know. Hit us up on Instagram. We're always down to chat at ColossusFit. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.